whenever there's a story about TV sport, Andrew Marchand is the guy, the New York Post senior sports media columnist. He's been killing it here in the offseason, and Andrew joins us now. Andrew, where do we stand with Troy Aikman? What's holding up him going to ESPN to do Monday Night Football?
Yeah, that's going to happen. He's going to go for 5 years and $90+ million, which is pretty good. We'll take him through ABC/ESPN Super Bowl. The average salary will be more than the deal Tony Romo got a few years ago. That was 10 years and $180 million from CBS. So it's just not official yet. There's some paperwork that has to be done, and we're waiting for other shoes to drop. So if they make an announcement, they may wait and try to make a double announcement.
Because if you're going to spend that money on Troy Aikman, and this is no offense to Steve Levy, but you're not going to have Steve Levy paired with Troy Aikman. Or are you? Is that still a possibility? Or are they looking at making a big splash with Al Michaels or Joe Buck?
So, yeah, this is the list for them. They're going to see if Fox will allow them to talk to Joe Buck, who has 1 year left on his contract. He makes $11 million to be the number one play-by-player for the NFL and baseball for Fox. And so that's their number one. Aikman and Buck are close. They've been together for 2 decades now. I could see that happening. If it doesn't, they'll look at Al Michaels. They like Al Michaels. Al Michaels is, late 70s. The question for them is, does he get you to that Super Bowl in February 2027? Do you kind of pushing the bigger issue off for a while? Internally, Chris Fowler's their national championship caller. They like him. To me, he's not as strong as these other guys. And then the other wild card would be Ian Eagle from CBS, who's the number 2 on the NFL for them, who has a contract, but I think they would try to possibly finagle him out of his deal.
Well, so what's Amazon doing on Thursday night?
So Al Michaels, NBC, and Al Michaels bid adieu basically after the Super Bowl. So Al Michaels is their number one choice. It's a 3-year deal. I think $30+ million is what's on the table. And Al has been kind of 90%, but he's been waiting to see who the analyst is going to be. First wanted Chris Collinsworth to come with him. Collinsworth doesn't want to do 2 games. Then wanted Aikman. Aikman was close to signing with Amazon, where he possibly could have split his time between Amazon, who will have exclusive rights to Thursday Night Football come this fall, which is a big milestone for TV, just going for NFL TV, going straight to streaming. And then after that, he has a close relationship with Sean McVay. They eat dinner together with their wives and McVay's fiance. Al only has one wife, so I should say wife. And so don't want to start any rumors. So they have a relationship. Obviously, for Amazon, Al Michaels, probably the greatest play-by-player of all time, Super Bowl winning coach. That would have been pretty good, but that's not happening. McVay is staying, and so
did McVay get an offer, Andrew?
So it never got to that. I mean, the Rams knew that was out there, that he could have. Amazon, from what I know, would have gone to 5 years, $100 million, that range. Now, he's going to talk, I think, later today. He might say, oh, it was there. I mean, I could get into all how everything works, the inside of it, but McVay, there was real interest. ESPN went after McVay 2 years ago, tried to get him for Monday night after the Witten Booger arrangement didn't work in terms of analysts. And you listen to McVay, I mean, you can only go by so much. People say he has an interest in doing this. Yeah. The Rams, I'd be surprised if, within 5 years, McVay is not a broadcaster. If you look at what he said, he's getting married. He doesn't want to be a football lifer. But this Rams team has a chance to win again. He has the quarterback, but then he leaves. Then he can decide to come back to coaching. Like I was joking, Daniel, like this, is that I wanted him originally to sign with ESPN so then I could start writing about how he's leaving ESPN to coach. So McVay is somebody on there. Now Kirk Herbstreit is someone who's high on Amazon's list.
All right. If Al Michaels goes to Amazon, you think he'll be paired with who?
So Herb Street, I right now I would say is someone who I would most likely to me is a very good choice, right? You're picking a broadcaster, not a quarterback. So the fact that Herb Street never played in the NFL, I think you know what kind of analyst you're going to get. And when you're Amazon, you're starting this new service, streaming, people have to find it. You know, that's why they want Al Michaels. They want it to feel big. They want it to feel familiar. And I think Al, at this point, he's still great. Throws 90, 92, not 95, 97 in his prime, but 90, 92, still very good. Herb Street's a perfect compliment for him. You know, does Al like that? You know, Al likes the stars, Madden, Collinsworth, Aikman, McVay, those type of people. Herb Street's a star in college, not in the NFL. So will Al be totally pleased with that? I don't know. The wild card. Joe Buck goes to ESPN. Suddenly Fox has an opening to do the Super Bowl 2 of the next 3 years. Al Michaels has done 12, greatest ever. Yes, a little bit older, but I look, I'm not saying Fox would do that. I think more likely Kevin Burkhardt moves up. Very, you know, he was excellent, ready to do it, in my opinion. Great guy, and deserves it. But do you say, look, we just lost Joe Buck and Troy Aikman. Al Michaels is out there. We get him to do 2 of the next 3 Super Bowls. And I kind of wrote Michaels did the Tom Brady thing this past Super Bowl. Great performance, you know, kind of put that stamp on. If again, it's a silly argument, but this is what I cover. Who the greatest play-by-play player is of all time at 78 to have the game he had. But now you go off and get 2 more Super Bowls, and you know Summerall did 12. Al's done 12. He gets the 14 in terms of Super Bowl. That's a pretty good exclamation point on a career.
What are the Mannings paid for the Manning cast?
So nobody is. I know I've heard numbers, not confirmed, but yeah, look, they're in that neighborhood of where Romo and Aikman is. The ESPN, the way that they're able to somewhat pay these people is that they make it a digital deal. Now, obviously, Disney overall is making ESPN Plus a priority, so that budget is bigger. So Peyton does Peyton's Places. He has Omaha Productions, so that money is kind of goes through there, and those are real things. I mean, they've been successful. Peyton's Places have been successful for ESPN Plus. I mean, you know, success is defined, you know, different ways, but people do like Peyton on those shows, and from what I'm told, in terms of what they see internally in terms of those streams. But yes, he's in that range. He's making a lot of money to do the 10 Manning cast from home. It's a pretty good deal for both sides, though. It was excellent for ESPN as well, you know, and that's why it was kind of a little bit like, oh, well, they had the Manning cast, you know, do they need Aikman?
Yeah.
But they're looking towards that Super Bowl.
Yeah, and I wondered about that too, that Troy is going to miss out on a couple of Super Bowls with Fox, where he's going to get 1 Super Bowl with the mothership, it looks like. But then you have the Manning cast. And plus, when you work on Monday Night Football, you don't just work on Monday Night Football. You get put through the car wash there. He's going to be on Get Up. He's going to be on, you know, radio shows, you know, Van Pelt's show. Like, that goes along with the territory.
I agree with you, Dan, most likely. But I will say, like, when Romo was talking to ESPN, and I was so ready to write the Romo rules, I couldn't wait to write it. If he had gone to ESPN, I don't think Romo would have been doing everything. Like, I think he would have just done the games. And I agree with you. You know it better than I do. The ESPN culture is you do all these things, and maybe Troy will end up doing that. I don't know if that's in his deal that, no, I don't have to do all this other stuff. I just want to do the games like I did at Fox. But yes, if he does, it's a different animal. And also that broadcast is more scrutinized. Now the Mannycast takes a little bit of the pressure off the main broadcast because people can go to that if they're not as interested in the game. But you know, Sunday afternoon on Fox and CBS is the best window. First off, it's the most viewed. Those games are watched by more than any other window. And secondly, everyone is doing a lot of different things on Sunday. There's more than one game. You get to watch your team on Sunday, generally speaking. There's fantasy that's even more active than it is on Monday. So the focus isn't as much on you, the broadcast team. On Monday night, get a lot of you get some bad games. Focus is on the broadcast crew. And that, in the defense of the Steve Levy's and the Greaseys and the Riddicks, et cetera, that is harder. They have a harder task than these other teams, and when they're compared, that's sometimes kind of unfair.
Romo changed all of this, didn't he?
Yes. So, and look, from CBS's point of view, The reason the people are probably listening, why would you give Tony Romo 10 years, $180 million? The reason they did that is because the NFL broadcast deals were all up. CBS, NBC, ESPN, turned out Amazon got involved, Fox. And so ESPN wanted to get Tony Romo with the thought that that would help them get Super Bowls and get these larger deals. Because if you look at what the most important property in sports, in television overall, 85 of the top 100 shows are the NFL. So the reason they did that, they wanted Romo on their side. Could they have gotten him cheaper if they, negotiated a little bit differently? Probably, but it didn't happen that way. It worked out. I could go through 100 different things that worked out for Romo, and he ended up with that crazy contract, 10 years, $180 million. And then you have the ripple effect, of course. Aikman sees that, he was making around 7 million, in that range at that point. And he's like, I'm a better quarterback, Hall of Famer, and I've been doing this for 20 years as a number one. Why am I not paid that much? And now he is.
Yeah, you just do they really matter? Like when am I going to stay? Am I going to tune into a game because Tony Romo's doing it? Am I going to tune in for Troy Aikman? Am I tuning in for Al Michaels? How do these networks evaluate this? That this is worth it. You're going to stay with me longer. I mean, how many of those broadcasters do we really tune in because they're doing the games, Andrew?
100%. Like what you do for the audience, you're the attraction. So whatever you get paid, you're listening to the Dan Patrick Show and the Danettes, and that's the show. And obviously, the money, can be similar to what this money is. You can tell what you make if you want, Dan. But when you look at the games, these people do not make the ratings change. What they do though, there is a star power to it. It does feel bigger, and that's important. And the bigger thing is it's important to the league. The league wants these booths to feel like number one booths. But I will say this, like before the Romo contract, they just mentioned why they did it. I was told by NFL, it doesn't really matter to us. At the end of the day, they're going to take what the highest bids are for these contracts. And then in terms of watching, you don't so when you look at Fox's decision with like Kevin Burkhardt and Greg Olson, let's just say Joe Buck leaves, they just have to really feel confident that come Super Bowl Sunday next year, they're going to be able to do a good enough job that the focus isn't on them. It's great if they do an amazing job and everyone thinks they're awesome and they get great reviews, but you can't have it where that the focus is for whatever reason on your broadcast booth instead of the game. That would be, just PR wise. Does it go dollars and cents? Does it matter? No. I mean, the Monday Night Football ratings were up last year. So do they really need Troy Aikman to make them go even higher? No, but they want that marquee. And especially when you're still negotiating maybe for Sunday ticket with the NFL, Amazon's about to make their booth. It didn't happen, of course. Al Michaels still might happen, but Al and Troy, and then you come in and you say, no, we'll get Troy. And not only that, we're going to get Joe Buck, maybe. Then that does probably help you a little bit.
Who is the sports media MVP?
Well, I mean, look, what you like, I'm not like kissing butt here on national TV, but I think what you, McAfee, Colin Cowherd, Chris Russo, Stephen A., Skip Bayless, I'm not saying you're the MVP, but in terms of value, right? You're doing an entertainment value. The talk show host or the big time podcast, Big Cat and PFT commenter, that type of person, that's the show. So you could argue that, again, I guess who's worth the most? Those people are probably worth the most because there's no Dan Patrick show without Dan Patrick. There is a game without the game. So I guess. So I mean, look, if you asked me, this is kind of, I'd say McAfee right now, right? Like he is the one who is not. You did this kind of. You left ESPN and started your own thing, but now McAfee's doing it where it's just YouTube, so just the pipes. He's on Sirius XM, but so he's creating his own. Everyone else kind of has an attachment, like even Stephen A. He's very important to ESPN, but Stephen A. leaves tomorrow. ESPN I don't know. Do they make less money? Maybe. I mean, First Take makes some money, and Stephen A is important. And can you replace Stephen A? You probably can replace Stephen A, but with who and how confident are you that you're going to get the same ratings and make as much money with that show? So I would say the talk show host type is the opinionator is opinionists are the ones who are probably the most valuable.
Thank you, Andrew. We'll be watching. We'll be reading.
Great, thanks, man.
And that's Andrew Marchand. He's the New York Post senior sports media columnist, also co-host of Marchand and Orand, the sports media podcast.